Thank you, Senator Grassley. Thank you, Senators Johnson and Cornyn here, and all of you for participating in this extremely important roundtable. When President Biden took office, we had the lowest rates of illegal immigration in nearly 50 years. But instead of maintaining strong border policies inherited from the Trump administration, President Biden rushed to overturn them. He ended Remain in Mexico, reimposed so-called catch and release, and exempted unaccompanied children from Title 42. Predictably, these open border policies encourage one of the worst rates of illegal immigration ever, including over 500,000 unaccompanied migrant children. In fact, the month after unaccompanied children were exempted from Title 42, there was the highest monthly total of these children crossing the southern border in history. The Office of Refugee Resettlement, or the ORR, has the responsibility of caring for unaccompanied children once they cross the border, ensuring that they are released to safe and thoroughly vetted sponsors. Now, the surge of migrant children under President Biden overwhelmed ORR, and children were hastily sent to emergency care facilities with undertrained and unvetted staff and poor living conditions. As the surge continued, ORR staff were directed by their superiors to prioritize speed over safety and to limit the amount of information collected when releasing children to sponsors. Even HHS Secretary Becerra pushed for faster results, telling ORR staff that the sponsor vetting process should be modeled after Henry Ford's assembly line with, quote, machine-like efficiency. This reflects either the government workers doing this project, who are often working from home, by the way. They weren't in the office, they were working from home, are extremely inefficient, or it shows a willingness by the department to override normal precautionary safety measures. To speed up the process, ORR dramatically weakened its oversight of the sponsor vetting program, including making many vetting requirements optional. Under these policies, ORR were not required to check if a sponsor had a criminal record, or to even verify that the sponsor's identity is real. For context, out of the 342 case files reviewed from March 2021 to April 2021, ORR did not conduct background checks on 54 cases before sponsors took custody of the children. This is unbelievable. This is incredibly troubling. So, what are the effects? Children are being released into dangerous environments to be exploited for illegal labor, leading to serious injuries such as dismemberment and shattered bones. There is even a press account of one child dying when he was pulled into a meat processing machine. The Biden administration is failing these children. It's failing basic human rights. It seems to have decided it's more politically expedient to release children as quickly as possible without going through essential checks to ensure children are not being released into harmful environments to be abused and exploited. For years, members of Congress, my colleagues and I, have urged the Biden administration to make real reforms to ORR and protect these children. Instead, ORR released a final rule codifying nearly all of its failed sponsor vetting policies and put these failed policies into agency regulations. I appreciate Senator Grassley's leadership in championing a Congressional Review Act to overturn this harmful rule and to hold the administration accountable for its activities that put these children in danger. As ranking member of the HELP Committee, the committee with oversight over ORR and child labor laws, I'm investigating the Biden administration's failure to protect migrant children from exploitation. Since 2023, I've sent 7 letters to multiple federal agencies, including the Office of Refugee Resettlement and the Department of Labor, seeking information to better understand the effects of Biden's policy. Now, regrettably, the Biden administration has refused to cooperate with our investigation, failing to respond altogether, are providing vague responses copied and pasted from press releases. Perhaps more shockingly, it has even prevented private entities from cooperating with our investigation. When I requested information from an ORR contractor intimately involved with the sponsor vetting process, ORR attempted to block them from answering our questions, instead referring our inquiries to the HHS Secretary of Legislative Affairs. This blatant lack of transparency with the American people is reprehensible. Frankly, it's hard to see this as anything other than an effort to cover up and shield the Biden administration from scrutiny for its mistreatment and mishandling of unaccompanied children, perhaps particularly in an election year with the president behind in the polls. Stopping the exploitation of children should not be partisan. This is not a Republican or Democratic issue. When vulnerable children are harmed or die at the expense of bad policies, everyone should be outraged. Everyone should be seeking to do things better. President Biden, you have the power to prevent this. You can secure our border and reform ORR to protect children from harm. Unfortunately, you're choosing to manage the border crisis as a messaging issue for your campaign rather than addressing the humanitarian catastrophe that has resulted from your policies. If exploitation of children will not force this president into action, I'm not sure what will. Thank you to our witnesses for coming today to speak. We must protect vulnerable children from further harm.
Thank you, Senator Cassidy. Now,